America's fight to deter war and safeguard the soil that represents independence continues. Helping lead this fight are the men and women of the U.S. military. According to the latest report from the U.S. Department of Defense, in 2021, women made up 17% of active duty force and 21% of the National Guard reserves. Tonight, I introduce you to one of those women who leads right here in Siouxland.
I'm Colonel Sonya Morrison. I'm the wing commander of the 185th Air Refueling Wing in Sioux City, Iowa.
Defending the United States of America with the overall mission of precise air refueling.
So we will fly all around the world and we'll give gas to bomber aircraft, fighter aircraft, other lift aircraft in order to make things move around the entire world.
August 6, 2022. The historic change of command ceremony. The flag passed as Colonel Sonya Morrison stepped into her new role to serve as the first ever female commander of the 185th. She oversees nearly 1,000 base personnel, is responsible for not only aerial refueling, but for the meticulous projection of troops and equipment, along with supplies around the world. A mission to fly, execute, and honor the act of valor.
When I'm completing a mission, it's never easy. It's accomplishment, challenging, and changing. We might still be doing the same air refueling that we've done for years, but the circumstances surrounding it are changing. The war we fought 20 years ago and the war we fought 50 years ago is very different than what we potentially need to be prepared for today.
Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Inherent Resolve. Colonel Morrison is a command pilot who answered the nation's call. The Osceola, Iowa native joined the military when she was just a teen, looking to continue her education.
I spent about 12 years in the Army National Guard. I was enlisted and then I commissioned. And then I had an opportunity to apply to come over to fly fixed wing, where I was flying helicopters at the time. So I had gone through helicopter training, but I actually, for the Air Force, I had to go all the way back through pilot training, and it was just an interesting transition, and I have loved it, and here I am 31 years later, still in the service.
As we take a look back at her 3 decades of dedication, her list of military accolades is astounding. She has flown more than 3,000 hours in rotary and fixed-wing aircraft, has flown more than 900 hours in combat support overseas, and has held various leadership roles throughout her service. And to lengthen the list of some of her most notable accomplishments.
When I graduated from Army pilot training in the helicopters, and I was told that I was actually the first female in the state of Iowa, at least on the Army side, that they'd never had one before. So in some ways, I am proud, because I want to be a part for that next generation of females to realize, like, it is not a big deal, right? And it is not a big deal to be a woman in the military, because it's no different than being a man in the military. So I don't necessarily feel like I'm proud just to be a woman, but I'm proud to serve.
Colonel Morrison continues to uphold her duty to pay homage and defend the mission to serve and fight, defending America's pride and integrity. But equally important, she says, is her personal mission to empower, teach, and mentor those she serves alongside.
And that's why I love America, and that's why I love serving in the military, because we are all different, and that's what makes us so unique, and that's what makes us do our mission better.
Proud to serve her country.
I joined for me because I wanted to get a college education. I stay for my family and for my neighbors and for what I believe is our way of life.
She says after more than 30 years of service, it's who she is.
I mean, if there's one legacy, it's that's what I hope to accomplish, is making sure every single person, every airman knows that they are a leader, whatever level they are, whether they're a brand new enlisted person or another officer in this organization.
And the U.S. Department of Defense reveals the latest information shows women serving the nation continues to grow. Colonel Morrison will be a part of this year's 3rd annual Freedom Ball, honoring women in the military. The event is hosted by Siouxland Freedom Park and will be held Saturday at the South Sioux City Marriott Riverfront. Tickets are still available. To read more about Colonel Morrison, her service to America, and get tickets for this year's event, You can log on right now to ktiv.com.